All right.
A
Hello,
nice t-shirt,
everybody.
indeed.
Oh, thank you. That's what I'm saying. I made sure. I had to make sure I had it on. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Stream Feens podcast, episode number 4. I'm so excited for this podcast episode. We have PETTKA, the man, the myth, the legend. If you're an avid Vigor player, you know him as the god of Vigor. I'm here with ModVlog as well. Mod, say what's up.
What's up, fam?
Hell yeah. How you doing today, PETTKA? Good?
Hi, great. Actually, I had a vacation today to rest a bit before everything goes on with the fifth season. So yeah, a great day for me.
Awesome. That's amazing. I'm ready. I want to dive right into it. I've been looking forward to this for a good amount of weeks now. So from the beginning, right? People have seen you in a couple of Vigor lobbies, playing video games. I assume you're a gamer if you got into game development. What got you into gaming, and when did you know you wanted to be a game developer?
Wow, that's a good question. Uh, it's been a long time ago because I've been gaming since I was a kid. Like, uh, I started playing video games like when I was roughly 8, so roughly in 1991, uh, if that counts right, yeah. And then after that, I started programming because it was fun. I enjoyed that a lot. And eventually, during my university, I joined the uh, well, video game journalist, how to call it. I was the journalist on the video game website. So uh, I was on the other side of the barricade. And then eventually, I learned about Ivan Buchta and people like that from Bohemia Interactive, and they wanted me to do something in the games. So I decided to skip the barrier and go to the other side to actually make the games instead of just writing about them.
Awesome. Mod has a question actually about how you managed to get into contact with Bohemia, right, Mod? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just wondering like how you got involved with Bohemia. What was the process like? Was it like just you applied for a position and got it, or did you just like know anybody in there? Or...
Yeah, as I mentioned, I knew Ivan because we went to some cons here in the Czech Republic. Uh, Most of them were about games, obviously. So I was there as a game journalist describing what does it mean to be a game journalist. While Ivan was there as a game developer. So we meet each other, and he thought that it would be great to have me in Bohemia. So we searched the positions that were there. One of the positions that was opened was the narrative designer for Arma 2 and then Arma 3. So this was something that I applied for, but in the end, I went for encoding, which is a bit closer to my heart of the programmer. I was trying to make the fish swim as they should and stuff like that.
Awesome. Um,
Awesome.
so when you started with Bohemia, right? Seeing as you're a gamer, I presume there were other games that you played that each had little aspects. This is how I picture it. Each little
Yeah.
game has little aspects that you take in and you enjoy, and that's kind of what contributes to Vigor. Were there any games that inspired any part of Vigor or Vigor as a whole?
And funny as you mentioned, like as I was a game journalist before, it means that I had to finish 3 to 4 games a week and write the reviews about them. So uh, I already had the mind of going into the game, knowing what's good, what's wrong, and that helped me to digest all the games. When I was appointed to be on Vigor, I used all the opportunity to go through all the free-to-play games and check what do they do, how do they do it. I was already doing that before in my free time, so I kind of switched that obsession to the work routine.
Awesome.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ma, go ahead.
Uh, um, so obviously your main focus right now is Vigor, but I was just wondering if you have any other projects outside of Vigor, like any other games you're involved with, or are you currently working on another game or anything like that?
Currently not at the moment. Like I went through Arma 2 plus DLCs, then into Arma 3, then I was on Argo, which is in some regards the predecessor of Vigor, because eventually when we developed Argo, we realized that it's good to make the game completely different, using the experience that we have and going into Vigor, and that's how Vigor actually came to be.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Let's see here. So, are you guys currently with the whole COVID-19 situation? Are you back in the office, or are you guys still working from home?
We were working from home for 3 months, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And then in May, we returned to the offices, like most of us. It really depends on the health state of everyone. Like the situation is not that bad here in the Czech Republic, or at least it wasn't until recently. The second wave kind of struck in. So currently, like half of the team is on home offices just to be sure, because we had some positive case in our QA. So based on that, we decide to return to the home offices as soon as possible.
Awesome. I wanted to make sure I took the time to congratulate you on and everybody in the team of Vigor on raising it was $250 in Czech currency for COVID relief. That is absolutely unreal. I'm happy to say I
That's
contributed to it.
fantastic.
Everybody I know contributed to it, and we just want to say thank you for not only thinking and considering and being able to give away that money, but that's huge. So I want to take time, thank you, congratulate you. And then,
Thank you very much.
yes,
Like
for sure.
it was really cool when our marketing guys came with the idea. It was like, yeah, we can do something that actually helps. Yeah.
Right.
So we get those donation directly to the faculty hospital in Brno, which is the city where the Vigor team is located. So that was something that was close to our heart.
Awesome. That's awesome. And it's cool that the in-game item kind of dealt with COVID-19 with
Yeah,
the mask and the toxic logos. That was a really good idea all around. Um,
yeah, reminding everyone to keep safe and stay safe.
yeah. So you said you're back in the office now. Um, in that time zone where you were working from home, right? What was one of the hardest obstacles and one of the biggest barriers when trying to continue to develop the game and to just have all around communication with each other?
Well, possibly the biggest obstacle was organizing the playtests because we play the game a lot, obviously, at least in our, let's say, separate environment. Yeah. Organizing that with people being at home was a bit more difficult because we have on purpose some obstacles, so not everyone can join those playtests from the outside. Like we have different build, completely different environment, and you need to connect through VPN if you are on the home office, obviously. Yeah, so that was the biggest obstacle to make it running. And then uh, actually, when we started with the home officing, we completely switched the system in which we developed the game. We went, it's called more agile, I would dare say. It actually worked much better on the home offices than when we returned in the office.
Oh,
It was fun.
so there was some benefit to it as well, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that was fun. Yeah.
It was one of the biggest concerns here in the United States where when they were sending everybody home from work. I know a big
Yeah.
problem was getting people to still be able to interact and do their daily job. So it's cool to see that you guys were able to benefit a little bit from it. That's something you don't usually hear.
Yeah, like the great thing is that the team is pretty small, like 45 developers, roughly, and we know each other for a long time. So there was no difference if we are working on the same place or if we are working remotely. Like we were communicating all the things like, are you going for lunch or what are we going to play in the evening, no matter if it was in the office or if it was from home.
That's awesome. Mod, go ahead, man.
That was actually going to be my next question: is how big is the team and how many designers and developers you actually have? So,
I'm sorry for
but
stealing that.
no, that's fine. Um, on the dev stream, you mentioned Vigor on the PlayStation 5. On PlayStation 5, is it fair
Yeah.
to say it's going to be on the newer Xbox as well? And is the progression going to cross over to the new system?
Uh, as far as we tried, it should be fairly easy to keep your progression even from Xbox Series X. So that should be okay. And like the game's definitely going to run there. Uh, Currently, we are thinking about the way how we can improve it on Xbox Series X and PS5. Both those consoles, as they are next generation, they have their strengths, and we would need to think about the ways how to utilize them correctly.
Right. Mod, we were talking a little bit before we got into the podcast. Mod had said something about possibly advancing the game or a Vigor 2 possibly far down the road, obviously.
Yeah.
So you guys are looking in ways to advance, but is there any talk of a new game in the future? I know it's still so early, right? And you can do so much with this game still. But do you guys see is there ever a point or something that would happen for you to stop with Vigor and think about a new game? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, thanks a lot for the kind words, first. But uh, from my point of view, currently there's no point of making Vigor 2 because there's still a ton of things that we would like to add to the game. Uh, and as it's a learning experience for us as well, because it's our first free-to-play game on consoles, uh, we may eventually, like in the far future, make Vigor 2. We learned a lot about the things that we've done wrong. We've tried to correct most of them, and currently the game slowly gets into the state where I would be content with it. Yeah, so uh, still there's a ton of ideas that weren't done, and we need to, for example, build the end game, because if you look at the game itself, there's no end game at the moment. Yeah, so that's something that we are still working on, but currently we need to stabilize everything, as we went through quite rapid development after the launch of the game. So we need to stabilize everything and make sure that there are no issues for the players.
Right. Uh, Mod, go
Yeah,
ahead,
t- don't make an end game too soon. We love the game too
Exactly.
much.
man.
Yeah, yeah. But still, like making the game end game into the game doesn't mean that the game is going to end. Yeah, it's just that the players who are in the game for a longer time have something to do, which currently it's getting a bit repetitive, I would dare say.
Awesome. Mod, you have I think we're at a good point now where we can start sliding into like the game and the game questions and possible things. So if you want to, Mod, I know you have some questions on that topic. Have at it, man.
You say like things get repetitive and everything. The dock by your shelter. Are you planning on putting like something else to build there, or is that
Uh,
something that you're gonna keep a secret and wait?
well, the dock wasn't meant to be something that you built, but it was meant to be a place where someone else could possibly land. Yeah. So uh, I'm not going to share any more details on that because it's going to take some time until we develop the systems around that. But
Yeah.
it should be something for the future.
So
Awesome.
you
Awesome.
say where someone else may land. Does that hint at possibly having more than one person in a shelter at a time?
Um, I'm afraid that that's something that we are not able to do in a short time, like
Okay.
possibly in years, I would dare say, because currently we are investigating the possibilities of optimizing the shutter, but as it's written, it would be really difficult to make it running in multiple people.
Okay. Cool. 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 Um, okay, so before I get into any of like, I have a good bit of bigger questions, but there's a very small question that is that is personal to me that I really want to know about. Okay, I was playing an encounter on Grantham Valley, and I stumbled across a little shed in the middle of nowhere that was very bloody. I think by your reaction, you know what I'm talking about. In
Definitely.
in this shed, there was a poster with wanted people, and there was a phone number on the poster that I actually called on stream, and there was no answer. So I googled the phone number, and ironically enough, it is the same exact phone number that was on the poster in the movie It.
Yeah, exactly.
So, is there somebody on the team that is a big It fan?
Definitely. Like the team is really great at making all the Easter eggs into the game. Like finally, even as you mentioned at the very beginning, like some of the team members decided that I'm the god in the game, so they've made the jacket. And from my point of view, the jacket, I didn't know what's on it until it was in the game, like in the public. Yeah, like I
That's
was configuring everything, and this is this is brand secret 01. That's okay. There is brand secret 02, which is the different jacket with the Bruno sign and stuff like that. And I didn't know what I'm actually configuring. It was like, okay, let's configure that. Let's get some keys for that, and people can redeem that. Hopefully, it makes sense. And in the end, I realized that I have a jacket in the game.
that is funny. So
So
they snuck it in there on you.
yeah, exactly. And I would say that I'm not any kind of god. Like the team is so great to make the game. It's not about me. It's about the team,
Right.
obviously.
Right. Wow. See, it's little things like that that you would have never known that I'm so glad we're like talking about because that's really cool.
I'm just soaking everything in right now.
It's
Like,
crazy, dude. I never
so
thought.
surreal.
I want to take another second because if I don't, I'm gonna forget. I want to thank you. Like, look, okay. Going into this, I'm sure your hope wasn't to, or your thought process wasn't that, hey, this game will help certain people in streaming communities. Maybe it will, but your game has done so much for my stream that it's unreal. It's crazy to me. The community, I don't know if you guys have anything to do with this or if you just got really lucky. There are some games you'll play and it's a very toxic and rude community. I have nothing but respect and love coming into my chat from this community and it's
Wow,
unreal.
Yeah.
It's
that's so
crazy.
cool. Yeah,
It's awesome. So thank you for that. I think I speak for a lot of people in stream fiends.
yeah.
A lot of us came from the Vigor community because that's how we all met, and it's just like it really boosted my stream from what it was. It's crazy. So thank you for
Yeah.
that.
Like we are really happy to do that, and that's why there's the Vigor partnership program
Right.
because that's something to gather the streamers, influencers, or even the mods on forums, yeah, and mods on Facebook, Reddit, everywhere. They are part of the same group, and they get some advanced access, and that helps them to be more in touch with both the game and their communities. So that's really beneficial for us, beneficial for them. So it's mutually beneficial, I would dare say.
That is awesome. With bringing up the partnership program, do you guys? I know the first time the partnership program happened, you guys kind of not picked, but you had your eyes set on a certain amount of partners and who was going to come in to start, and then from there it's kind of been an application process. Do you have your eyes on anyone that you? And I don't expect any names, but do you have your eyes on anyone that you hope A applies or B you might offer? Do you think offering partnership is something you see yourself doing again in the future to certain content creators?
Like currently, we don't see that as a future. Usually, with some big updates, we ask some, let's say, bigger names to do the video, but it's not about the partnership, it's paid promotion,
Right.
basically. But currently, we are looking on the possible partners on both Switch and PS4. As for Xbox, we are really happy with the community that we have there at the moment. Like,
Awesome.
obviously, if there goes someone like Ninja, then yeah, we would be happy for that as well.
Right.
Not much
Yeah.
of a surprise, but I don't even expect that.
Right. My, go ahead, man.
That's one of the I find the biggest benefits of being a partner is you get to go in and test the game preview while it's still like really fresh and be able
Yeah,
to contribute to say um, either finding a bug or getting something fixed or something along those lines, right?
and we are happy for the help because it helps us a lot. It's our, let's say, first line of defense because yeah, now our QA is able to test everything thoroughly, but still it can happen that some things don't make that much of sense for the real players because as we are playing in our, let's say, closed sandbox, uh, we play differently, completely differently from the community out there. So, as I play at least 4 to 5 hours a week in the public. I have some oversight on how it actually works, and it's completely different from our playtests.
That's awesome. So we were talking. You kind of touched a little bit there on Mod had talked about how fixing things and bugs. We talked about this before the podcast, and we were very hesitant to bring it up because I'm sure you've heard about it a million times. The hit registration in the game. I know it may not be easy to fix.
Yeah.
How do you plan on overcoming the issue of hit registration? Is there something that you have a plan? It's just difficult. Are you executing? What do you have for me?
Like we are working on it, indeed. As you may have already played the 5.0, you may have noticed that there's a big difference in that regard because
For sure.
previously there was the big issue that something which you see on the, let's say, client wasn't the same as the server perceived the situation. So it may have happened that you were shooting at someone, you've clearly seen the person, but you were not hitting them because they weren't there on the server, or you were aiming in a different direction on the server. So we are working on those desynchronization, and currently we give a bit more authority to the client, to the player. So what you see is what you kill.
Right. Well, in the same hand of bringing that up, I wanna let you know you guys did a phenomenal job in season 4 with fixing and patching, because I know there was a little bit of a spot where right before season 4 came out, I was starting to see more and more people on these forums talking about bugs in the game, and you guys did a phenomenal job at putting those to rest. Let me tell you, I do not see
Thank you.
it very often. I don't see them much anymore. So props. I've had people a little bit of I was talking about how positive the community is, but there's always that one or two stickler. I had a person come into my chat and they were talking about how they aren't excited for season 4. You know, they're worried not much is gonna get fixed. And when it happened, a week later after that dropped, he came in. He was like, "All right, I take it back. It's gorgeous." And I was like, "There you go. I told you." So yeah, you guys did a great job of that. Sawmill.
Season 5 looks great
go ahead.
too. Season 5 looks
It's
fantastic.
beautiful. I don't want to
Thanks
touch
a
on
lot.
it too
Yeah.
much because I mean, other than what you guys showed on the stream, not much has been shown.
Yeah.
But yes, for the partner preview, I'm excited. That's amazing. You made Sawmill into a great map. It looks gorgeous. Mod and I were playing it earlier, just looking around the map. Is it going to be an 8 or a 12-man map?
It's going to be the 12-man map. Like currently, we are going to keep just those 3 maps as 8-man, like the Gronheim Valley plus the batteries. So those are going to be kept as the 8-man, and all of the rest, including the islands, as soon as we have them, it's going to be 12-man.
So there's also plans and motions to make the islands
Island
map
map. Yeah,
into a bigger map.
exactly. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Wow.
Like the good thing is that currently we have several maps nearly ready for being released. So we are finalizing them. So in the future, we may see more of those maps, hopefully.
So multiple new maps like being worked on.
Yeah.
That's I'm excited.
Yeah. Now that we're on the topic of maps, are we going to see like alternate versions of each map? Like say forest in the spring, as like kind of like
That's a
what you
maybe.
did with battery.
Uh, like actually, I know that the spring forest or the summer forest, as it's called internally, is something that it's being worked on. The question is if it works well or not. Because with
Yeah.
the battery, you realize that the maps, even though the terrain is the same, they play completely different. Because in the battery snow deck, you go through the map and you see nearly everything. There's next to no place for camping because there are no bushes and the trees don't block that much of line of sight. So it plays different than a battery draw. So if we are able to make something like that, even with the uh, let's say summer forest, then we would be okay with releasing it. The question is if we are able to make something as drastic or as important on the map to be okay with releasing it.
Awesome. Um, wow. When you said new maps, I got really excited. It's funny because that was one of my questions. So mortars in Vigor was something no
Yeah,
one expected, right? I don't think anybody in season 3 would have seen season 4 mortars. I don't think anybody saw it
yeah.
coming. So that kind of opened the door and opened a new world of explosions other than contact bombs. I know very early on in the game, some people that are watching might not even know this, but there was hand grenades.
Yes.
Is there any possibility ever that they be put back into the game? I know there were some issues with them. Is there any possibility they get put back in, fixed, or are we? Is it safe to say they're an entity that won't come back?
I would never say never. Currently, uh, we were working on the system for the hand grenades, but in the end, like it's nearly ready, but the nearly is the keyword. Like we don't want to release the unfinished stuff anymore. Like we were experimenting with that at the beginning of the year a bit, and it didn't pay off. Like people weren't that happy about things that are not finished, so we try to make those things a little bit more polished. So currently the biggest issue with the grenades is obviously the synchronization over the network, because the physics by which it's simulated, it's a really complex one. So it's really hard to have that the same on all the clients. So the grenade actually bounces the same way on all the clients. So this is something that hopefully we have already tackled. And in the future, if everything goes well, no promises, obviously, uh, then we would like to introduce the grenades yet again. But yeah, it needs to be in a solid way.
Fully understandable, for sure. Mod, you got anything?
Um, I was wondering about momentos. So are momentos going to be coming in with each season, or are they going to be just random updates, like new mementos and stuff?
The new mementos are definitely going to be random updates. Like there are things that we would like to have seasonal, like for example, new customization stuff like that, and new weapons. But with the mementos, we want each of the sets to be a bit different from the rest. Like uh, currently, the set of mementos that we are developing, it's completely different from those that are already in the game, like trolls and lighters. So this one's going to be a bit more interactable in some regard. So it's going to provide you with something more than just them being in the shelter. So the system behind it is a bit more complex. And we have several ideas on the mementos that are going to bring something more to the game than just being able to collect them. Yeah. So those things definitely take some time. So don't expect mementos to be there in every season. Like at the beginning, we released lighters and trolls back to back in the 3.2 and 4.0. So in those updates, and now it's going to take a bit longer for the next memento to come.
Awesome. I will say with the mementos, when they first came out, I was very confused, especially seeing as they were trolls.
Yeah.
But they've come to be one of my favorite things to hunt for. I have all the lighters and
Wow, thanks.
all the trolls, and it's I'm not gonna lie. At first, it was a little weird, but
Yeah.
I've come around to loving to find them. It's to the point where like I don't even need them, but if I find them in game, I pick them up just to pick them up.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So something this is huge. Okay, and I know this is another one of those things that's like crazy far in the future, but Mod and I were joking about it. Do you, with battle royales being such a hot thing right now, I'm sure you've gotten this before. If you were to combine all of the maps into one and make it a much bigger server, I'm sure it would be iffy with server issues, maybe. Like much more than 12 people. do you think that's something that could be doable? An idea for this, I'm gonna run this by you because if this happens, you know where it came from. The radiation coming in a lot sooner, but moving slower in terms of pushing people into one area. Although the extracts are still there at any point in the game, I think that'd be really cool. Do you guys have anything like that going on?
Uh, Actually, we played with the idea before we released the game of being more of a battle royale. In the end, we realized that the strength of Vigor lies in a different position. Like, it's not about just killing everyone, but it's about having the option to kill. Like, the goals that you have are necessarily not about killing people. They are
Right.
more about scavenging everything, getting the airdrop, and you are able to do that even without killing anyone. Yeah, like we were even going through the paradox of the commons. If you happen to know the term, it's something that happened in England in 16th century, if I'm not mistaken, where there was the land that was for everyone, and everyone can use that to pasture their sheep, and everyone was using that land instead of their own, so the common ground was completely destroyed by the sheep. Yeah. So this is something that you are able to go into the encounter in Vigor, and everyone's able to gather all the resources without killing anyone, and they would profit the most. But as it's the human nature, they are going to kill someone. And once one of the person gets killed, they are going to kill other persons as well. So eventually, it's going to be more about shooting, less about looting.
Right. That's it's cool like hearing your point of view on the
Yeah.
situational part of Vigor, seeing as there's so many different ways to play it. It's cool hearing
Yeah.
from your point of view for sure. Um, there's an item in the new season. I don't. Oh man, I don't want to go on into it and then have it be something you guys didn't talk about yet. It's related to the AKM. Do you know what I'm getting into here?
Yeah.
It's not one of the skins. The other item. Are we good to
Yeah.
talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's named the AKM Bayonet.
Yeah.
And awkwardly, to me, when I saw AKM Bayonet, my instant thought process is, can I put this on my gun? Is this
Nope.
something you see happening in the future, or is it just a melee weapon?
It's just a melee weapon. Like we have multiple of those bayonets, and yeah, they differ in shapes. That's everything what differentiates them. Uh, in the future, we would like to have a bit more focus on melee as well, but currently it's in the far future. Like, uh, we need to get the shooting right first,
Right.
obviously. When we are the loser shooter, like not having the shooter correct is the biggest issue. And then as soon as we get that right, we can think about the melee.
Awesome. Mod?
Um, so you mentioned looter shooter. I need to ask you this, Becca. When you're playing, are you a looter or are you a shooter?
I'm definitely a looter. Yeah, like I think that I have like 50 kills, something like that. Just a handful of them. Like usually in self-defense, um, because yeah, I'm rather looting around, lurking, trying to see what's happening. Like most of the time, I'm observing other people. What are they doing? So not killing them, but observing what they are doing in their natural habitat.
So you
Awesome.
lurk on people without them knowing. It's pretty funny.
Well,
I would also like,
eventually they may know.
yeah, I'd like to point out that one of your 50 kills is on Rex on point. Don't
Yes.
let it die. Let everyone know. Rex, if you're watching this, got him. That's so funny.
And that was on stream, yeah.
That's so funny. Oh man, he told us about that when we did our episode, and I was like, if the episode
Yeah,
happens with PETTKA, this needs to be brought up. I'm glad I remembered. Oh
yeah.
man, that's funny. Have you had any other encounters with other players from the community that you recognized?
Yeah, definitely. Like, there's a ton of streamers who already killed me or I was sometimes lucky to kill them, but I usually meet them in the lobby, and then uh, usually I don't know why it ends with boosting the lobby fully. So
Right.
that's all the fun, and then usually we meet even in the encounters and don't shoot at each other, but sometimes it simply results in the bloodbath.
That's funny. So so we Mod and I and all the other partners, we know why the change was made. I think I speak for all of us when I say we support it. It just makes sense. But when it comes to being able to pick up one supply drop and one golden crate, or you know what I mean,
Yeah.
for the people watching that might not understand the change, I've had quite a few of them in my chat. Could you explain from your point of view why the decision was made?
There are multiple reasons for that. The biggest reason is that currently we see that the most experienced players don't have enough challenge for them. Like that's why we are introducing even the lone wolf mode and stuff like that for the most experienced players to have additional challenge. And as they didn't have enough challenge, it was way too easy for them to gather all those airdrop crates. Yeah, like if they were in the duos, they were able to kill their teammate, kill everyone in the lobby, and gather two crates easily, uh, which is no longer possible for them, which means that the crates are going to be for someone else. Yeah. And even I'm able to grab the crate now, but people who are playing like me are now more likely to grab the crate in the end if they survive until that long. And the biggest thing that we wanted to do is have the possibility to have two crates even in solos. Yeah. But if we didn't do the change of limiting the number of crates that you can carry to just one, it would be just boosting those most experienced people, which doesn't kind of make any sense to me. Like they are already boosting themselves enough. They are experienced. They know how to fight. So they don't have any additional challenge. And if there are two boxes instead of one, we are even making the endless spiral. Yeah. So now you are going to have some difficult decisions. Like there's someone running with the crate. Are you going to pursue them or are you going to wait for the second one? Like this is a tough decision that you need to make. Like if you are going to grab the crate that's lying in the airdrop, and there may be someone else trying to wait for you grabbing the crate. Yeah. So this is more of decision making than it was before when you simply grabbed two crates and run away.
Awesome. Mod, go ahead, man. Do you have something?
Um, you mentioned there might be somebody waiting for you to pick up the crate. The new booby trap that you guys implied or implemented. Uh, like normally when like a seasoned player or whatever picks up a crate, they're always moving around in a little circle to
Yeah.
try to avoid gunshots or whatever. Now, when you hit that booby trap, the player actually has to stay still
Yeah.
and do the little code. And I think that's an awesome thing to put into the game because it gives like the newer player a chance to kill the good guy. You know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah. And the same goes for every container that you can booby trap. Yeah, it's like you go in, there's a combination lock, you just booby trap it because you can, and then someone else has this tough time and actually a lot of intense moments for them. And I think that those intense moments is what Vigor is great about. Like when I'm trying to run away with the crate, it's always my heart pounding, and yeah, after I leave or after I die, both happens at the uh, same rate. Uh, I'm happy that there was something interesting in the game. So that's why we've added the red crate with the boxes. We've added the secondary crate to the solos, and that's why there is the booby trap to provide you with those intense moments.
I will say it's a pretty good idea, and we were messing around with the timer of the booby trap in private match or in the partner preview. Um, and I gotta say, I think the timer on it is perfect. Like if it were any longer, it'd almost be too easy. If it were any shorter, it'd be, you almost don't have a chance. I know one thing: if I'm running around and I loot this random car in the middle of nowhere in hopes for some electronics, and
Yeah,
this booby trap pops up, if any little bit of hesitation, yeah, if any little bit of hesitation pops into my head, that's
yeah,
that. Like, you got to be ready, and I think that's awesome. Um, it's pretty cool. Another thing we saw, I don't, ooh, the crows. Are we able to talk about
yeah,
it? Okay,
yeah,
so you were
definitely. Like
talking.
we even mentioned that on the stream.
Okay, cool. So you were talking earlier about, and a lot of people see the word camper as kind of not like a negative term almost. I noticed you called them campers when we were talking about Battery Snowden. Um, so is this to combat camping, simply put, or was there a different intention behind what happened behind putting it into the game?
As I mentioned, we are always trying to make the game about the skill of the player. So, like if you are lying in the bush for the whole time, there's next to no skill involved. Yeah. Uh, so we would like to up the game even for those people who are trying to lie in the bush. But we are both making it more difficult and easier for them because we are making it easier as they now see that someone else is approaching thanks to the crows.
I
On the other
never
hand,
I never really looked at it like that. That's you're right. Okay. That
yeah,
yeah.
like on the other hand, the approaching player knows that there's someone around the exit as well. So they are more careful, and it's more about the skill of both of the players. Like if the approaching player misses the tell, misses that the crows are leaving, then it's even more easy for the camper to kill them. And at that moment, I think it's even fair. Like if I miss the tell, then I did deserve to be killed for that.
Right.
Like at least in Vigor, yeah. Uh, so that's why we introduced that, and we are playing with the idea if it makes sense even around the different areas of the map and stuff like that. So we are really looking forward to the feedback to that.
Awesome. Um,
I love it.
I was
I
gonna say
absolutely love the
first that
idea.
feedback. I haven't played it obviously in a public match yet, but
Yeah,
I think it's definitely a cool idea. To be able to go through a full game, get 6 to 7 kills and a bunch of loot, the supply drop, just to run to an exit and not see a person sitting under a tree and dying is pretty.
yeah,
At least now I get a warning. You know what I mean? Before I die, of course.
exactly. Yeah,
um,
may
so
happen all the time.
that's what I'm glad. It was a very good idea. So now that season 5 is here, right? It's just around the corner before it releases. What is the next step for the Vigor team? Like, is there anything on the agenda that you are sitting down and you notice that this needs to be our next priority?
Uh, One thing that I already mentioned is the repetitiveness of the encounters. You may have seen that a bit with the com station. Like currently, there is not the solid set number of the com stations that are going to be in the map. So currently, it's going to be 1 to 3 of them. So uh, it may differ, and we realize that we may do that even for different things. Yeah, like usually as we see the experienced players now uh, spawned in the encounter, they go for the guard house, then they go for radio signal detector, for a crate and exit, and rinse and repeat all the time the same. What if there's no guard house? What if there's no radio signal detector? Uh, and there's a different event instead of that. Like if the birdhouse is out in the open. This is something that we are working with. In the update preview, you've already seen the Jammer Tower, which is going to be something that we are going to add later. Currently, it's not in the state that we would like it to be released, and we have different events prepared, and those events are going to go into the encounters. with some chance of happening. So it may be that there's a bar house, there's no bar house, there's a container, things like that. This is going to refresh the encounters for everyone. Like it's going to be a bit more difficult for the new players because uh, it's going to be difficult to learn all those things that what they do actually. But I think that Ada is going to help them with that. And for the players who play the game as much as we all do, it's going to be something refreshing at the beginning of every encounter. Like I'm going to look at the map, check what's there, and make a new battle plan for this specific encounter. Not that I'm going to go for the Bard house if it's close or not if it's not close. That's not the plan. It's just yeah, it's close. It isn't. That's it.
Right.
Uh, if I'm able to form the plan, like uh, there are different events and I'm going to go for them in this different order, I think that helps the players to have it a bit more refreshing.
Right. I think that's awesome. That'd be crazy. It's like changing locations of Bard houses, as you said. Maybe if Bard house was out in the open on
Yeah,
one of the other maps, I think that would change the game for sure because it would make you a lot more of a cautious player. Seeing is you have a 360-degree circle around you where anybody in that circle can be looking at you and you don't know. I think
yeah.
that would be a game changer for
Yeah.
sure. Mod, you good, bud? You
Um,
have it?
yeah. So speaking on repetitiveness on game styles, would you be able to explain for the people watching and that still don't understand how it works, the repetitiveness of the maps? Like some people, it's like I get forced 4 or 5 games in a row, and they don't understand why it happens. Would you be able to explain that to them?
Well, uh, first of all, this is something that we are removing in the fifth season because you are going to be able to choose out of the limited amount of the maps at each time. So there's going to be something that we call the map rotation. There are two slots or three of them. Currently, one of them is occupied by the sawmill itself, but there are three slots in which the maps rotate, and you always know into which map are you going to go. Yeah. Uh, and as it works now, the thing is that there's an array of maps, and every time the matchmaker finds enough players for the next map, it goes further through the array. So uh, there's next to no randomization. Like it goes one map by one, and then eventually at the end of the array, it starts anew. Yeah. So if you get all the same maps multiple times in a row, it only means that uh, the timing is that there was 8 times the selection of the maps in between, or the multitudes of the 8 times uh, in between you enter the encounter and the second one. Yeah. So uh, if you stay in the shelter for a little while longer, then it's going to be a completely different map, theoretically.
So it's on like a time limit. So if I were to stay in the shelter for 5 minutes, I'd get a certain map. If I were to stay in there for 7 before I queued, it would be a different map.
Uh, Actually, it really depends on the number of players which are
Okay.
currently in the game. So if you are somehow synchronized with all the players and they all go into the encounters uh, at the same time, then it can happen that it's going to be the same map. Otherwise, it's pure chance. Uh, like if you were choosing to start the matchmaking 5 seconds later, it would be a completely different map because someone else would go into the spot for you and they would start the map that you were playing on.
Awesome. Okay, it's cool to hear behind the scenes of like how the map selection works because I wouldn't even
Yeah,
think to notice that. Mod, that was a really good question. Um,
that's right.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the
yeah,
community that's gonna really enjoy that answer.
we we talked about a bunch of things. That wasn't one that came up, and I'm glad that did because that is, I never thought to ask that. That was good. Awesome.
Yeah.
So another thing, one more thing I want to talk about. game modes have been really cool. I love now that there's going to be an option to party up with 4 of your friends and make a 5-man team and go into elimination. That's awesome as is.
Yeah.
Is there any plans for new game modes, or is that something down the line and like you're happy with where it's at right now?
Like we have something in the preparation, but it's going to take some time to make it right.
Sure.
Like the biggest thing that we got with shootout and elimination is that it's not Vigor, and we understand it's not the same as encounters, and we would like to make a game mode that's more Vigor, let's say. But it's really hard to tell when we are actually able to make it. Like it's really difficult to extract what's the essence of Vigor,
Right.
and then based on that, make the game mode. Like we are trying to make it. It may happen that it's never released because it's not good enough for us, or it may happen that there's multitudes of those game modes.
Right. Awesome. This is going to be the 5th season, 5 seasons in. Is there any one season that you released, that the game released, that really struck with you, that you're most proud of or happy with what it did for the game or the numbers of the game? Is there one season that sticks out to you in particular?
Mm, that's really hard to tell. Like I love them all.
Right.
Uh, I was really happy to release every season. Uh, every season was refreshing in some regard. Uh, Possibly the last one, the Warlords, uh, because somehow when I'm in the lobby, I see more people with the premium battle pass than I've seen before. Like currently, if I'm really unlucky, I see just 4 or 5 people out of 12 with the premium battle pass. Otherwise, I've seen even the full house, like all 12 people having the premium battle pass, which means that people most likely enjoy the battle pass and what's in. So we should have done something right in that regard, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
I will
So
say the cosmetics brought people to pay for that battle pass. I'm sure this one will do the same. The cosmetics on this battle pass, some of them
uh,
are beautiful. I'm so
oh, thanks.
excited. Yeah, so
Yeah.
speaking about cosmetics, I've talked with you in DMs about this in the past, and I understand it may not be on the forefront. Uh, it's a joke in my community, and I know a bunch of my buddies are also hoping for future streamer or content creator related cosmetics. I see the jackets as something that was very exclusive, so I don't
Yeah.
expect it to be jackets again. But is there any talk or any possibility of future cosmetics for partners?
Like we were discussing that, uh, there are things that we would like to do, like smaller ones, like for example having the titles for the uh, partners, stuff like that. But it will still require some time to make it proper. Yeah. So I'm not promising anything at the moment. Uh, Eventually, it may come that there's going to be specific uh, customizations for the partners. Uh, I don't think it's going to be for everyone, like broadly in the game, but at least for the bigger partners, uh, there's always the possibility. It's about the priorities of what to do next. Like the art team does a ton of things at the moment, so it's about priorities currently.
Awesome. Cool. Ma, you got something?
Um, this is mainly what I'm about to say is mainly a statement for the community in itself. What you guys did, lowering the price of the battle pass, what people don't understand, like people are still complaining that, well, I don't know about now, but that it was too expensive. But what people don't understand is with a one-time purchase of the battle pass, or even if you get a battle pass code off of a partner,
Yeah,
um, the battle pass itself gives you more than enough crowns to buy the next battle pass. So essentially,
exactly.
it's
Yeah,
like you buy one battle pass, you get the rest of them for free if
yeah,
you're just smart with your
exactly.
crowns, right? So
Or
I
you
think that's
can use
awesome.
those crowns to boosting or to get yourself different cosmetics. Like it's up to you how do you use the crowns. Yeah. So um, we would like to add even more value to the battle pass in the future. Like we have some plans of things that we can possibly make, and yeah, if those works well, I would be really happy to have them in the game.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
I personally have asked all of the questions that I had. We're coming up on an hour here,
Have
and I don't want to push your time. So, Mod, do you have anything else?
Just with Vigor constantly growing, like with weapons, battle passes, seasons, etc. How proud are you of this game? Like, is this like your baby?
Yeah,
Is this the one?
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely it is. Like, I'm really happy that we managed to do so many things with Vigor. Like at the very beginning, when I realized that how it was the game in 0.5 at the beginning of the game preview, it was a completely different game. Yeah. Uh, Sometimes I just watch the videos from the game preview and realize how many things that we fixed, how many things we did wrong. In meanwhile, like there was definitely a ton of things that we did wrong, and we are trying to fix them. We are trying to make the game as good as possible, and it's always thanks to the community and thanks to guys like you that we are able to improve the game and make it better. So huge thanks for that.
you're
It's,
you're
it's our
welcome, man.
pleasure. Our pleasure.
That's crazy. I think we're at a very good spot now where we can wrap it up. I just want to go ahead again and say thank you so unbelievably much for being able to find the time to come together with us. Hopefully, you guys in the community learned a good bit from this about PETTKA and future plans for Vigor. You're doing an amazing job. The game is at one of the best points it's been in a very long time. Thank you for everything.
Thank you guys. It
Everything you
was a
do
pleasure.
Awesome.
Thank you.
is our honor, dude. Our honor.
Awesome. Alrighty. That's going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a fantastic morning, night, day, evening, whatever time it is for you. Thank you so much for watching the Stream Feens podcast. Hopefully you learned something or you found something you're excited to look forward to in the future. That's going to be it. Thank you.
Bye.